Welcome to Carolina Sculpture Studio. My name's Clint Button and I'm a granite sculptor. This is a little different project than what I normally do. We started an apprenticeship series on YouTube to try to capture this craft as the old timers pass away, and there's just not many people left doing it. And so I'm trying to capture it in a way that will preserve it beyond me and hopefully bring new people into the trade at some level, because there's a lot of people in the industry that are trying to carve and they don't always have access to experienced people that can guide them in the right direction in terms of professionally doing this work. It's great to be an artist, it's great to just make stuff up as you go along, but the reason that I can do this work successfully in the industry is because I was professionally trained by a number of masters, including family, and whether they were master sculptors or master stone cutters or finishers or polishers, there's a lot of different people involved. So this is one of the basic, this is something Giuliano would have used to teach people. You get a block and square it and you start. So we started with a rough piece of granite. This is a piece of Kershaw granite out of Kershaw, South Carolina. It's a mahogany, it's a large grain stone, really big crystals. It's fairly ornate, but it's not ideal to carve, but it was a free piece of stone, and it was what I was looking for, because when I got it, it had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rough split sides. 4 were actually split. One was surface stone that had been exposed to the weather for a countless number of years, and then the other side had been sawed and polished but had a bunch of damage to it. So I set it up with that face tip in order to eliminate the use of that face as a reference. And then I used, my grandfather was a master finisher when he retired, just before I was born, and I used some of his plumb blocks. Now plumb blocks are just, these are made out of cast iron, Troward Holden plumb blocks, and plumb blocks are a means to cut. You place them on the stone. They're not winding blocks. Winding sticks tell you if it tips. Plumb blocks are used to check a depth. And so you can take plumb blocks and set them on, and then take a straight edge, and you can measure whether you use a ruler to check the depth, or if you're going to measure a consistent depth, you can use a combination square that's set and check your depth. And you can go between, and it makes it very easy to get a rough piece of stone, set it up, put 2 blocks, plumb blocks on there, take a level, set it on, cut it till the bubble's perfect, and then cut a few more spots till the bubble's perfect. Then you just take and level the panel off using either the plumb blocks to measure down, or you can use a carpenter's square to check level. You don't check level with a nice straight edge because you'll destroy it, but you can use a carpenter's square to see if it's flat. And then once you do that, you turn the stone and you do the next side, and you turn the stone and do the next side, and turn the stone and do the next side until you've done all 6 faces, and then you carefully flatten each face in conjunction with the other faces as you finish it up, and you hand axe it. So this teaches people how to do accurate panel development, as well as accurate sides, corners, and then how to finish it. Now, this stone was produced almost entirely with a bushing tool and a few chisels and a couple of hand machines, 3/4 and a 1-inch hand machine. So these are the actual tools I use to rough this into shape and finish it up. I did use a saw briefly just to cut some lines in so I could break it out easier, but I didn't saw everything in. I cut it by hand. And this is just an old-fashioned job, squaring a rough block of stone. You can do it with any kind of stone, but this is the way they used to do it. And so hopefully this will help train some new people to square a block of stone, to be able to produce a panel, to be able to be in control of the work they do. And then in the end, you have a wonderful piece of stone. And this is typically how a stone would have been squared up back before modern technology had huge diamond saws that cut very accurate faces. You'd take a rough piece of stone and a finisher would put a surface on it. But this lesson correlates to producing more ornate work or producing flat panels in conjunction to raised carvings. Whether it might be a corpus on a crucifix with a cross behind them, or if you had something that was placed on here that was supposed to look like it was just sitting on top of the stone, except they're all one piece. You have to cut that panel, or cutting a panel on the face of the stone. So just an old-fashioned job, squaring a granite block. It's very, very understated. A lot of people would look at it and have no idea that this was cut by hand, and a professional person in the industry, in the business that knows stone, would look at it and probably be shocked that somebody still cuts these by hand, because nobody knows how to do it. So still do it here at Carolina Sculptor Studio, and hopefully after these videos are out with the Virtual Stone Carving Apprenticeship, there'll be some more people around the country, maybe even around the world, that can do the old work by hand. So my name's Clint Button here at Carolina Sculpture Studio, with a plain old block of stone that's just cut square by hand. Thanks for coming in.